Hey guys, welcome back for the weekly music theory lesson. This week we're going to talk about the rest and why it's so important in music. Now we've talked about the rest before briefly in another lesson, but we didn't get very in depth into it. Today I want to show you all the way from the whole rest to the 16th rest. What do they look like? What does the notation mean? When do we use them? And what do they sound like? So let's get started. So what is a rest? Well, a rest is simply measured silence, and each rest that you're going to see in musical notation has a certain value. And by a certain value, I mean a certain number of beats that it represents, just like our regular notes are notated. So a whole note would get 4 beats, a half note would get 2 beats, quarter note 1 beat, eighth note half a beat, etc. Our rests are going to be the same, so each one of our rests are going to have a value. So we're going to have a whole rest, a half rest, a quarter rest, an eighth rest, and a 16th rest. Just like we have whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, eighth notes, and 16th notes. And we also have triplet notes and triplet rests, but we'll save those for another lesson because that's going to take quite a lot of explanation. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to play you guys an example of each note value, and I'm also going to play its corresponding rest value so you guys can see how they're both equal. And also you will see how the notes and rests fit within a measure. So let's get started with the whole rest. It gets 4 beats, so I'm going to play you guys a whole note followed by a whole rest, followed by a whole note, followed by a whole rest. Here we go. Easy enough, right? So let's move on to the half note. It gets 2 beats. I'm going to play you a half note, followed by a half rest, followed by a half note, followed by a half rest. Okay, now let's move on to the quarter note. It only gets 1 beat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a quarter note followed by a quarter rest, and I'm going to repeat that 3 times. So it'll be 4 quarter notes and 4 quarter rests alternating. And then the next smallest rest is the 8th rest, and it only gets 1/2 of a beat. So what I'm going to do is on the downbeat, I'm going to put an 8th rest, and then on the upbeat, I'm going to put an 8th note. So you're going to have 8 sets of alternating 8th rests and 8th notes here. It'll sound like this. And then the last rest we're going to talk about today is called the 16th rest, and it gets 1/4 of 1 beat. So there are 4 rests within 1 beat of music. That means it would take 16 16th notes or 16th note rests or combination of the 2 to equal 1 whole measure of music. So what I want to play to demonstrate the 16th rest is first 4 16th notes followed by 4 16th rests, and then I'm going to alternate them on the next measure. So that would sound like this. And in my opinion, the reason why the rest is so important to music is because without all the open space, the space that is filled with sound would not sound as good. So I mean, let me give you an example of why I think that is. Here's just a little example I came up with. You see how I used the empty space there in that phrase to accent the rest of the notes that I was playing? That's why I think the rest is one of the most important aspects you can learn for your playing. Alright, that's all I have for today, guys. If you found this video useful, hit like. Please take a second to hit subscribe down below the video now. Also check out the link in the description. That's my website where you can find out more information about bass and me. This is Jeff Nelson of the Lax Band signing off from slapitabass.com. Everybody stay safe and remember to slap at a bass.